Sharing my screen. Hope you can see the screen now. Yeah, can you see the screen?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Now, yeah, the Chennai tag. Yeah, we see
Okay.
it.
Hello everyone. Good evening and welcome to Chennai TUG May 2024. This is around fourth or fifth session we are conducting in a row, and this time we have come up with some more interesting topics such as simplifying LODs and four small UI changes big impact by our well-known speakers. You know that Lakshmi, Kameshwara, Abhijit, and Preeti Lodha. Preeti Lodha, who has been a Tableau public ambassador, and also she has won recently the Vizzy Award. And Lakshmi, uh, he has been working as analytics manager for a firm, and he is also doing a freelance for other companies, and he's helping them to build their dashboards and data as well. Uh, I think we can start with Lakshmi first. Over to you, Lakshmi.
Yeah, hi Srikant, and thank you so much for this. And I would like to share my screen. I hope you're able to see my screen.
Yes, Lakshmi.
Oh, sorry. 1 second. This should be Chennai. Sorry, my bad. Yeah. Hey, all. Welcome to today and a wonderful evening. And my name is Lakshmi Kameshwar Avijit, and I am a five-time award winner in the last 2 years at my previous work employment. And I've been working for the last 13 years with all of year of 13 years of experience into analytics as a predominantly working is to work as a Tableau specialist, and I am certified in Tableau from various other portals. So I'm currently preparing for myself in Tableau certified specialist exam and as well as Tableau data analyst exam. So and my hobbies are mostly I'll be traveling or singing and also listening to music and apart from reading books. So without further ado, let's talk into the topic of the day, that is simplifying LODs. And today is about agenda and a little introduction that I wanted to show about here, as well as my professional experience. And we will jump into what is level of detail and a little bit of the concepts of level of detail. So today I will certainly tell you an example of a simplified version of what is LOD. So we are going to talk about an example later, that what it is coming from and where it is the source of it and how you can leverage that. So this is about me. I am professionally, I was telling, Tableau enthusiast and also avid user of Tableau. So I sometimes use also Power BI, a little bit of SQL, and more into UI and UX designing. That's about me on the professional side, and also I'm more inclined towards learning from 360 degrees. That is, I'm open to learn from anyone, and also I can teach anyone. That way, the knowledge increases and knowledge sharing happens quite fast, and you can improve and grow very fast as well. Personally, like teaching Tableau during weekends was one of my passion, and I love to connect with the global Tableau enthusiasts and learners. So I always on the scout for moving towards different people, like knowing about them and what they are interested about in Tableau especially. And that's why meeting new people and making lifelong friendships. I'm a polyglot, so I knew about certain languages here and there, mostly the Indian language, but I love to know about Spanish and other foreign languages as well. So reading books is my favorite, and I'm a dog lover, also a pet lover. So, and that puppy you're seeing is not my Siberian Husky, so it's just a random pick. So this is about me and overall to my professional experience, this is the companies which I work with. So currently, I'm a freelance Tableau trainer. I worked earlier with AWS Global Services and Axela is one of the best companies that I've worked with, along with Deloitte and Wells Fargo and Bank of America. So today, like we discuss about what is the scope of Tableau first, and where do we see that LOD is coming up. So in our order of operations, which is the most important, concept that we everyone have to learn when you're in Tableau. So LOD functions come up in after the dimension filters and before also. So what happens now in this order of operations is you have first your extract filters, data source filters, and context filters, and then you come up with a fixed LOD. So there's a particular reason for this actually because of the concept of granularity and aggregation. What is a granularity? So when you're scoping down on a particular data, so at what level are you seeing? So is it at the top end level that you're seeing the data, like a bird's eye view, or it's a bottom end, which is you're deep downing and looking into the root cause of the analysis and getting to know what is actually under causing the certain concern to the business. So these areas that you see on the left hand side are the red highlighted areas, which are actually the scope of Tableau dashboard, where you can use all of these LOD functions and other dimension filters, context filters, as well as your rows and columns areas that you can use to bring that output to your data source and also the data visualization. Now, before we jump into these resources, so let me tell you one quick example here. Now, there used to be once upon a time there was a once a king who used to be very good. He's a very good king actually, and he has a problem of somebody is not available in his kingdom to answer specific questions whenever the king and ministry is facing up. Likewise, what they do is they held a contest. Okay, let's bring all the intellectual personalities in a conference room. Of course, there in 16th century AD there was no conference room, right? It was only open-ended auditorium. So there were one particular scenario has come up to the king, and it was like a father has three sons, and the father has 17 elephants in his backyard. Now, before the death of the father, he was trying to give his written will, the will power of will. He clearly stated that the first son, second son, third son should have the elephants distributed among them equally. But the point here is there are only 17 elephants. How can they distribute now? And father has also mentioned there should be a ratio according to the level of the eldest son to youngest son. So the king ordered, like, whomsoever is coming with a solution, they will be my advisor henceforth. So one person comes up forward. He says, my lord, I can provide you a sample. Like, I can solve this problem for you. However, my idea is not to, become your advisor. And in the interest of the entire audience there, including the king, so this person asked, bring me 17 different elephants, small elephants, that we actually have in a cupboard. So they bring all small elephant idols of small elephants. And then he asks king also, sir, can I have your elephant also, a big one? Now it's a big idol now. So he also requests that to have this elephant, one of other big, assuming that it's a king elephant. So now total we had 17 elephants earlier. Now we have one more added. That is what happens. We are including. And when we are including, what happens here is you'll have your include LOD. So basically there are three different types of LODs. One is fixed, include and exclude. So currently we are talking about include. So what does include LOD is actually looking into? So that means you are bringing in a particular dimension, which is an elephant here, to the already existing level of dimensions. Okay. And this is the actual official work page of Tableau LOD concepts, where you can actually go through the how to create level of detail expressions in Tableau in a detailed manner. Now, upon bringing that, including that elephant, some people objected. So we don't want it. Like, we cannot have a king's elephant included anywhere. How can you do that? How dare you? That kind. So he said, no, no, it's for example purpose that we are adding it. Then he included that elephant. Now it's 17 plus 1, 18. And as per this rule, what happens is, now let me explain you clearly like what is a include LOD or exclude LOD, how to write an LOD first of all. So here I have used one sample, that is sum of sales along with region and segment on column shelf. No other filters, just only two measures. So what sum of sales we already know, it's a sales that we have in the order superstore table. Now regional sales. What is this regional sales? So it shows this is a fixed LOD. But now I'm talking about include. So I'll just explain you what is this actually fixed. So it says for every region and segment, give me sum of sales. Give me sum of sales. So here what's happening is I have four regions: central, east, south, and west. You can see the color context here and the sales also. Now what's the difference between these two here? Okay, let's go to include now. So you see subcategory, because we are talking include, let's see subcategory. And we already have chairs. All the subcategories, we have 17 subcategories. And now I want to include something. What is that I wanted to include? Product ID. So for every product ID, give me average of sales. So what does this will do? In the previous sentence, I told that for every region and say a segment, you give me sum of sales. Now here what happens is include my product ID, include my product ID to the existing, okay, to the existing aggregation. Sorry, once again, to the existing visual and aggregation. Also change the granularity from subcategory to product ID. Condition here is without bringing product ID into the view. So this is what include does. So your product ID is already nowhere seen. If I just move this out, can you see the difference between once again? Yeah. So can you see the difference between these two values? Like chairs, both are same values. But what's the difference now? So out of my total sales of 450,000, on my product ID of chairs, it is 47,540. That is normal. But if I'm not giving anything here on the aggregation and granularity, so this becomes my whole new level of value. So there is one more example here, like include segment. Now let's see what this will do. I don't see any change. The values are same. But did you see the graph is again same as the first one? You notice the graph between the sum of original sales column versus the including segment. So now what is it's doing is for every segment, it is calculating subcategory wise product or subcategory wise sales. So here what happens is, for every segment there are how many segments we have. So I can include segments also here. Let's say segment into colors. Yeah. So for every segment now, home office, corporate, and consumer. So you see the values did not change predominantly across all the three columns, but the aggregation, the granularity level has gone deeper when you are including include. So if I come down to this page, there should be one aggregation. So the aggregate expression on the calculation that is performed, for example, sum of sales or average of discount, this expression must be aggregated. So at what level are we aggregating is matters. Now let me show you one example here. See, the calculation is placed on row shelf and the aggregate is an average. Resulting visualization averages sum of sales by states across regions. So this is what actually we're doing, calculate category by average of states. So now ideally you're seeing from three columns, it has spread across three different segments because you have category and segment. Okay. And simple rule here is like, now coming back to our example, what happened is first they included one more elephant of the king and they have fixed it. They have fixed it from number 17 to number 18. And now they have to divide it. So 18 is divisible easily by 3, which is 6 equally. But there was a condition. The condition was the first son should be getting half of all the elephants. That means so if there are total 18 elephants now, actually 17 elephants, plus you are including one elephant, that becomes 18 elephants. Okay. Now you are fixing these 18 elephants. After fixing 18 elephants, what you are doing is you are actually taking 18 into half, which becomes 9 elephants now for the first son. Now again, 18 divided by, again, sorry, not divided by, 18 into for 1 by 3, which is 6 elephants for second son. Now the last son will get how much? 1 by 1/9. So it's one half of this and 1/3 of this and 1/9 of that, which is 2. But actually, one of this elephant is actually belongs to king. So again, after that, what the advisor will do is he will exclude the elephant, which is actually the king's elephant. He will give it back to king. So the ideology here is, he's actually getting the include and exclude on the LODs. And in that case, what he is doing is he's targeting the fixing of the aggregation and he's changing the granularity level based on the order of operations. And after doing that, he's also excluding whatever the data that he's bringing out, he's already excluding it so that to remain consistent across the value. So by this, what we can see, even though the fixed LOD, included LOD, excluded LOD is different, but the usage is dependingly and differentiating the factor of the value that we are bringing onto the dashboard. So in case of excluded LOD, let me show you one thing here. So here we are having segment and region. Now I'll bring exclude also here. Okay, I think it should be. exclude. So what happens? Let's see what happens. See, if it's already included here. The value of consumer for central is 272,000, and corporate is 166,000. Home office is 92,000. But if I add my go to analysis totals, show row grand totals. This is my total, right? This is my overall total for central, east, south, and west. Now I just changed this function. Instead of include, I told exclude. What this calculation does is, we are telling to remove a segment from this entire view and then give me sum of sales. So if you remove segment out of this, when segment and region are there, what is this is left? We have region. So at regional level, for all the segments, you're saying you're getting the same value. And this is the power of the LODs, where you can actually either without bringing, or even though you have segment here, I'm removing it. So even if I remove it, it shows me same. And if I include it, it shows me same because of the calculation at the level that it's operating in the view. Now you see the difference. Again, I've included that. So it is bifurcating. When you're including, actually what happens is, let me tell you, it bifurcates the aggregation level. Either goes to a higher granularity and shows you distribution of that particular data, or it brings you an overall view and gives you the higher context of the data. So in the grand total, it is giving you higher context, and in the segment wise, it is giving you the lowest, deepest context, the lower context. So with this, I hope that I've covered the LOD concept simple. And there are certain links that we can go through. There are 15 scenarios of Tableau LODs part 1 and part 2, part 6. So this link will actually take you through one of the videos of one of the videos that from one of the present, like, she is a Tableau visionary. Her name is Honorable Santos. So you can go through this link. And there's also one more link here, which is Tableau LODs. This is one. What are they actually? How to make it happen? This is from the Brad. His name is Brad, and he's done a awesome job here on breaking down how the level of detail goes step by step for you. So I will share this link with the Chennai group leaders, and probably they will share it back to you. And once again, coming back to this here. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a wonderful day.
Yeah, thank you, Lakshmi. Thank you so much. That was really a wonderful session. You have really simplified the LODs. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Please,
Lakshmi.
back to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, that was informational. I hope you all enjoyed that. Let me take this opportunity quickly to thank Chennai Tug for asking me to come join you all. Let me quickly share my screen. Okay, everybody can see the screen, right? Somebody just give
Yes.
me a nod, or yep, sounds good. Okay.
Yes, Preeti, I can see you.
Thank you, Deepa. This is as vague as it could be, right? Small changes, big impact. You have no idea what this topic is going to be about. And like, I love keeping that surprise for you all. But quickly, let me give you an introduction about myself. Hello, everyone. I'm Preeti Lodha. I'm a data analytics and insights manager in higher education sector. I am currently in Boston, Massachusetts. Few Tableau accolades, as previously said, I am a Tableau public ambassador. but I do also co-lead a Tableau community project called DataFamCon. We generally tend to look at fun movies and TV series and awards data, because Vive is boring data, right? The other thing that I do is I'm also a Tableau user group co-lead for Tableau Public Tug, and I've been newly asked to join Boston Tug. So I'm really excited to bring new energy to these tugs. I've been a Tableau Public featured authored. I have 3 visualizations of the day. Um, the couple of things that I'm really excited and proud about right now is I have a visualization which has over 1 million views. So I tend to create a lot of stuff on Tableau Public, right? I've won a couple of awards for the visits that I had created in Women in Analytics and Chart Champ. And yes, Tableau Public Tag recently won the Vizzy. Vizzy, if you are not familiar, it is the community award that goes out. So in near future, when this comes back for the next conference cycle, if you feel like Chennai Tag is doing you this service by hosting these events, do nominate them. Your nominations are your votes. So without further ado, let me take you to the conversation that I'm bringing to you all. Um, so we all build dashboards, right? But they are the now you have come to a point where you know how to build a dashboard. You put together a dashboard, but I'm gonna identify four small changes that you can bring to your dashboards that will change it effectively so that the interaction with your audience members increases. What I have up on screen for you is a before and after. So we are gonna start with the original dashboard that Tableau tends to have with their Superstore dashboard. And having implemented these 4 UI design changes, you can hopefully create a better dashboard. So what are these 4 UI designs that I'm talking about? The first one is white space. It does tend to be how you have to create enough space for your content to breathe. Second is font hierarchy. Third is define spaces. And final one is just simplifying the overall view of your dashboard. So quick question, do let me know in chat how many of you have seen or interacted with this dashboard that Tableau gives you. So whenever you log into your Tableau desktop, you see the Superstore example, right? So this is the initial dashboard that it comes up with. It's basically an executive dashboard. It is showcasing few KPIs on the top. It is giving a map with the regionality, and then you have a couple of breakdowns by segment and product category, which is providing you broader information. And then you have this box of filters that will allow you to change the way dashboard looks by filtering things out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to implement a few of the changes that I've talked to you all about. And the first thing is white space. My example for white space is this Google search engine. So whenever you try to search on Google, when you put google.com, this is the screen it comes up with, right? So you see the impact or the insistence on this screen is simply that space bar, and that's it. So it is pretty straightforward that if you want to search something, put your question in here and hit the search button, and it will show up whatever you want. So that this is sort of the use of white space. It's narrowing down your focus on certain areas that are important. So taking up the original dashboard, we are going to apply some white space to it. So as soon as we did this, you see already that it's breathing much better. So again, I'm going to walk you to the original one. Everything is just side by side. There's not enough room of breathing, but I've moved few icons around. I have grouped the KPIs to 1 quarter. I've moved the map, and I have created this white space in between so that it sort of gives a separation. So now your eye has a clear pathway of figuring out what you are looking at rather than looking at a busy dashboard. And one of the quick tips that I want to give you all is leverage the most viewed spot. What do you think the most viewed spot on a dashboard is? Um, it is the left hand side top corner. So if you see this corner up top, this is where the eye goes first. So you want to keep your title, or if you want to provide more information about your dashboard, that is the first spot you want to leverage, because that is where people's eyes goes to. Okay. Now the second UI change that I would like you all to think about is font hierarchy. Currently, you see in this example that everything is of the same font size. So what could happen if you leverage the font hierarchy in employing in making people look at things better? Font hierarchy will create a sense of flow and help people focus on certain things that are clearer. So how does this work? Let's look at a font hierarchy example. So what I have up on screen for you are two images, right? So when you looked at the first image where the entire font hierarchy is of the same sort, you probably are not reading through the entire text. You saw the image and you read the text. But in the second option, I'm using the same text, but I have implemented the font hierarchy where I am using the different fonts, colors, and weights so that people's attention focuses on that and you move it. So now you have an image up here. There is much bigger font. It's using leveraging the color up here. There is a much smaller font. So this could be your title, this could be subtitle, and this could be the context or body of the text. So let's apply these principles to this visualization, and you could end up with something looking of this sort. What did I do? I went sure and implemented increasing bigger fonts and bolder fonts for my KPIs, because KPIs are tend to capture the important information, right? You want to set an immediate context for the people so that they know what they're looking before they go into the deeper dive of your dashboard. And the other thing that I have done is I have increased the size of your dashboard title. Same goes with the subtitles. I have implemented increase in the size of the subtitle, made it bolder, and then implemented the font hierarchy up here. Now you see it is flowing much better, where your eye knows what to concentrate on first. Uh, But in addition to white spaces and font hierarchy, sometimes I like to define different spaces in my dashboard. So just as simple as adding a simple background with color or border sort of makes the segments for your dashboard. So that is the next example that we are going to walk through, and it is defining the white spaces. So if you see the difference between the previous dashboard and this dashboard, what we have done is we have implemented the color. So the lighter, I have implemented the darker gray up here. And as you see with the darker gray background, you now feel like the KPIs are one solid box of itself, right? And then we went ahead and implemented the lighter color for your monthly sales by segment and by category. So what happens is this emphasizes on primary and secondary spaces, which will help your users understand that you should start here and then probably move over to the next section. So having it is key that you pay attention of how you're grouping your visualization so that the user is not overwhelmed with all these changes. For the last step that I often do is basically go through my visualization or dashboard and try and take a look of what I can remove or what can I immediately add that will provide more context for this dashboard. So we are going to go to the simplify section. And what I have done is I have basically added a little context by I added the date range to the title. So now here right away, based upon your selection that you do, this updates. So the user right away knows that they're looking at profitability overview, but for this segment, instead of having to figure out to look at the filters and what are the dates that they have selected. And the other thing that I have done is I have added this clickable filter. So now your user knows that if I hover over a certain part of the visualization, it will provide me with more information. And I say, if you click on that, it will filter the visualization. So this is what has happened, right? The clickability. So it's not just implementing these filters and showcasing the hover over, but guiding your user to utilize them. And one of the key major changes that you would see is instead of using a US map, I went and simplified it to use a hex map or the box map. Why did I do that? It sort of gives a weightage to all of the states in equal parts rather than having to depend upon the geographic differences. Because if you look up here, Texas and California are much bigger, but when you come to the Northeast states, even though they have similar overall profit ratios, because they are small, your user might not be able to catch it right away. So instead of giving the weightage in that way, we have utilized this map. So a tile map will give you a sense of equal weightage across all the states. With these little things, you can create a sense of flow that will make this visualization much easier for your audience to read. These are the few tips that I'm implementing when I'm trying to clean up the dashboard. I'm more than happy to hear what you all use or what are the tricks that you have learned in creating this. And that was a quick overview of what I had to share with you all.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thanks, Preeti. That was
That went by really quick, right?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We still have if we can take questions if anyone has anything. So you can actually use the Q&A at the bottom to post in your questions, and the speakers will answer your questions.
And I've just posted the link to the visualization, so feel free if you want to engage with it or utilize it. So.
Thanks, Preeti. Any Lakshmi, I think he has also posted some link.
Yeah, I'm sharing
Okay.
those links on
Thanks,
the
Lakshmi.
chat window. Hey, Preeti, thanks for sharing those quick tips. And I probably want to ask you, was this the fastest presentation that you ever had?
I did. This is the first fastest presentation I've ever done.
Hmm.
But that is what I wanted to keep at it, right? Like I wanted it to be simple enough that it is digestible and four key points that you will be able to implement at. And
Okay, I see a
I have
question.
yes, I'll let you go ahead, Lakshmi, and then I can take my question now.
No, no, please go ahead.
Okay. So my thank you, Prithviraj Singh, for your question. Your question basically asks is what is my advice on how to present dashboard effectively? Um, First key thing that I want all of you to focus on is to know your audiences. Depending upon that, the voice or the tone of presentation tends to change, right? If you are interacting with senior leadership, you want to present your KPIs first. You want to be quick because apparently the human memory, we tend to only pay attention to things due to our attention span only for 6 or 8 seconds. If you're not capturing your senior leadership's attention within those initial 6 or 8 seconds with your dashboard, you'll probably not have them engaging with your dashboard much. So a cleaner design, keeping it low, probably not a lot of visual elements on screen, the things that they are trying to answer questions to. So those might be the key elements that you present on your dashboard and you talk about it. But what happens when there is an analyst that is interacting with your dashboard and they need to make a presentation, because that is what we do in our data work, right? We create dashboards and then we go make presentations about those dashboards to people. But those data analysts, you want to give them as much background about the data and the niche things that they have to pay attention to, especially in higher education, right? Let me give you a quick example of international students. International students could be defined by what tuition they are paying or by which visa they have come. So very two separate dashboards. I would go by tuition they're paying for probably my ANF data analyst, which is finance, accounting and finance folks. But when it comes to probably the people who are in the international relations offices, they want to know which visas, what students, which countries they are coming from. So those details tend to change. So your data analyst presentation is going to be very niche. It's going to be more data oriented about the definitions of the questions that they are tending to ask. Um, and it's as simple as, at the end of the day, right? Know your dashboard in and out, what you have created, and be ready for your audience member to ask more questions, because dashboard is not only about answering the questions that the people have, but also engaging them in asking more questions off of the data. So that is how your dashboard should be presented, or that is how you talk about your dashboard or the work that you have created. And I'll stop there.
Yeah, thank you so much, Priti, for that elaborate like explanation on how to use the dashboard effective. It's a wonderful example that what the students are meeting the needs of the business and the clients is much more important than when it comes to effective presentation. So I see one question from Sandeep Kumar Das. So he said, "Can we sort the views on all the bar charts using an include?" Yes, Sandeep, you can use a sort actually there. So you can use a sort and you can use specific dimension if you have it, or you can use sorting feature by your sales. For example, sales value in the scenario that we have seen. The first two are somewhere around 40 to 60,000 range, and the third one is about 100,000 range. So what you can do is you can click on sort, and you can have the dimension either by say some, let's say, category or subcategory. It will sort by alphabetical order, or you can use the sorting of using the measure. Select on the drop down as sales, then you can get it. So can I share once more my screen, and probably it's better for them to show.
Yeah, yeah, please go ahead.
So let me share it. Yeah, I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so let's go to that, include LOD. Okay, and now we can see here that this is sorted actually. The first one is sorted, but you see the values somewhere here. You notice the values here. It's 422, 20, 34, and so on. It's increasing. Okay, but here when you see the machines, it's actually the machines is 106,000, and then you have 29,000 again, then 70, then 47. So this is weird, right? It looks very weird because the numbers are different and the bar that is showing is different. So what I can do is I right click on this, or I can say right click on the category, sorry, on the dimension pill. You can clear the sorting, and you can use a small icon here which can sort you, but again you still same, right? Even though you sort it like this, it's still the same way. So right now I've cleared everything on the sorting here. Go to sort. You can use data source order, or you can use a field in the descending, and field name that you can select is sales. So currently we are using sum of sales here, so I will use just sales. And when you see the symbol here, that is also that is a symbol of the sorting. When you see this. So let's take one more example here, because I think there's something is influencing this to go by this alphabetical order. So what I can do is go to subcategory and again sort. Same thing here. Okay. So either I can go by sales or manual or data source order or alphabetic. If it's alphabetic, you see, in a descending order, uh, A starts on the bottom and the Z comes on the top. I'll clear it. Now you see A is on the top, so I can choose any field. So what I now choose is I'll choose by subcategory. Let's try that way. So the two subcategories, because we have multiple data sources. I'll pick the bottommost one, and you have it. So again, depends. Now if I add category to this, okay, there are many nulls here. So we'll exclude this one, and we'll just put a filter on everything. This except one. Now again, you see in furniture there are many things, but furniture is showing again machines, copies, everything. So this is not actually working because we are already including our aggregation and granularity to separate level. So what all in all, what do I want to say is that you can use once again is my option. Yeah, you can use a sorting feature in this way, and you can definitely work on showing the sorted order, and it can give up a complete picture of your presentation in a neat and designed fashion. I hope I have answered the question. Yeah, thanks, Sandeep. Welcome.
We have 6 more minutes. In case if someone have any questions, we can use this time.
I have a question for people.
Did I hear you right, Deepak?
Yeah. So, Preeti, what are some mistakes that people usually do creating visualizations? What are some things that what are some things that we can avoid to make a better dashboard?
Great question.
Because there are so many visualizations that are available in internet, right? So there are so many things that are being shared by the community, and people want to try everything in one single dashboard. That makes the dashboard slow. It affects the performance, and it causes clutter. So some basic things that we can avoid, to make a good dashboard.
That is such a great question. I think the first thing that comes to my mind is color, because I have seen dashboards utilize color. Just because you have the capability to use colors across the dashboards, Do not create a dashboard with 6 different colors which do not relate to each other. You want to use the continuous palette, you want to use the aggregated palettes, you want to use the custom palettes that you have. Uh, that is great learning experience, uh, but probably you know that in Tableau Public you have an option to hide those options, right? So if you see 40 of my dashboards published on Tableau Public, I have 50 in the background that have not been published and won't see a day of light, because that is where I'm practicing and I'm learning. And the crucial thing that I'm going to say is everybody loves a pie chart. A lot of my folks who are older here want a pie chart on their dashboard. Do not use a pie chart if it has more than 6 pies, because then it is not effectively disseminating information. So it is very key and crucial that you know what chart type to use. So analytics is not only about learning about how to build these charts, but is also about learning of how and where and why you use these charts. So probably do not use a pie chart with 6 or more different colors. That can be translated into a bar chart that will disseminate the information much easier, and be very consistent about the color you use. There needs to be a theme that ties the color across your dashboard, right? And a lot of our organizations invest so much time and money to come up with their brand colors. So utilize them. Go ask your communications folks, if you have one in your department, that, hey, are there certain brand colors that you use? Can we import them into our dashboard? So then it sort of becomes a consistent presentation, right? So one dashboard does not look very different from the other dashboard that you have on your organization. That way you will create a consistency, and you will look as somebody who has thought and paid attention in building these dashboard rather than just putting the data out.
Thanks, Preeti. That was helpful.
But I now have a question for you all. What is one tip you live by, that you have seen that has been helpful when you are building dashboards?
Not sure if I heard that properly. What is one thing that?
Helps you build better dashboards.
I think it's discussing with the team, brainstorming on what we are going to build, because we build business dashboards here. So there are times when we think that a certain visualization will be more helpful, but brainstorming with other people will give you an idea as to what better chart we can make use of to tell a story. So I think that is one. And like you said, we are constantly in touch with the community. We keep we are part of many tugs, we participate in that, and so we get different best practices from around the world. So implementing them is I think another point that I can add.
So totally agree with you, Deepak. And that is the thing I have learned. You cannot implement all the best practices in your dashboards, right? So be comfortable in choosing what works for you and your design style. And as much as I love a Sankey, I love to build a Sankey chart in my visualizations, but my work does not understand. So it is important that you understand what your audiences can understand of your chart selections. So as Deepak said, there needs to be a constant communication across your teams of somebody wanting to build a beautiful chart type. But if your audience does not understand that chart type or does not have the data literacy to understand that chart type, will that be effective? You can go 2 ways about it: educate your leaders about the chart, or sort of think about a different chart type that would be helpful.
Yeah, I would like to add one more perspective of mine, probably which has worked more of often for me in my area of expertise. So this would be my answer to your question, Prithya. Like, what's that one thing which always stuck with me in terms of building so many dashboards with my client? So Of course, obviously, knowing and reiteration of in the idea, that is one aspect, but understanding the pain point of the business and trying to address in terms of design format, like for example colors. One of them that is most often is a question is when creating business dashboards is colors. How much context should I use? For example, today I'm wearing a purple shirt, and what does it actually represent? It stands for grace, luxury, care, wisdom, innovative. And if there is somebody who's wearing is using a red, more of a red in the logo of the company and everything, so it's like energy, excitement, youth, and everything. So these, little bit of intricacies into the color psychology definitely helps us to understand what kind of emotion that we are, giving to the end user, and what are we expressing really. And these are very trivial things, probably, but when it comes to designing factor of the, data analyst life, then these are the main crucial points.
So true, Lakshmi. Yeah.
No, totally agree with you, Lakshmi. That is what I did. So I did data makeover presentation for the Tableau conference, and that is where we also talked about color, right? Color in different cultures mean different things, so you have to be sensitive about that too. Like white is the color of joy and celebration up here in Americas, but back home in India, if you wear something white, it's either holy or somebody has died. So you have to be very careful, right? Uh, so that translates into your work life too. Uh, but
Yeah.
I'll stop there. I think we had enough fun for the day.
All right. Thank you so much, Preeti and Lakshmi. It was a awesome session today. Thank you so much, and we'd like to have you again talking for us in the Chennai TUT.
Yeah, thank you so
And just
much.
before we close, for the participants, we have an opening, you know, at our organization. If anyone is interested in applying, you may please reach out to me, Ashrikant, and we'll take it forward from there. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye
all.
everyone. See you.